Well, Happy New Year. I'm Scott, and I am here live right now in downtown Greensboro. It's 20 after 11 on New Year's Eve 2020. And my reason for recording this is very simple. We are right now witnessing a moment that is here. Hi. But it's a moment that you will never ever see come again, I don't think. It's eerie and strange and weird. Let me start by saying, normally New Year's Eve, I would be exactly where I am, in a downtown spot somewhere, or maybe in a social setting somewhere, in one of the many cities and towns I've lived in during my adult life in the past 35 some odd years. And I've always made it a personal habit, personal tradition of spending New Year's out, about, somewhere other than at home. Can't really explain why. It's just something that I always wanted to do, and always did. I remember roughly 22 years ago. It was New Year's Eve, 1998. This place right here, it's currently called Cone Denim. It hasn't been open all year. It used to be called the N Club when it was first opened. The Metaloni brothers opened it. And this was really something. I used to go clubbing and partying when I was younger, just like many of us. And New Year's Eve of 1998, this very spot looked very different than it does right now. This spot here, I spent a little bit of time here last year between October and the end of the year, pre-COVID. I didn't spend New Year's in this exact spot. That was a little further up the street. But needless to say, this very spot, New Year's Eve of last year, and for many years before, was very busy. It was New Year's Eve. The biggest reason I wanted to record this right now, and I'm not live streaming, I'm just recording this, so you won't be seeing this in real time. In fact, by the time you're watching this, 2021 will already be here, and hopefully we'll all be on our way to a new beginning of some sort. But I thought it necessary to immortalize and journal this moment, this place, this time and place, New Year's Eve, downtown Greensboro, that really looks more like a wake. And in a sad, ironic way, that's fitting, because really the end of 2020, it ought to be a wake because of so much loss that we've experienced this year, collectively, as a global society, I guess as a national society. For me personally, losing somebody very dear to me at the beginning of fall. So here we are, New Year's Eve of 2020. What undebatably will be the most strange, unique, novel, if you'll forgive the word choice, odd, depressing, and eye-opening year that I think any of us have ever experienced. Normally, this exact spot where I'm standing, looking north along Elm Street, looking south along Elm Street, would be noisy, packed, busy, revelers, partygoers. It would be New Year's Eve. But this is not any ordinary New Year's Eve. This is New Year's Eve 2020. We're ending this year on a very quiet, somber note, in the same spirit that most of the year played out, as we all well know. Even on an ordinary weeknight, we rarely see downtown Greensboro, this spot like this. But to see South Elm Street, downtown Greensboro, this way on New Year's Eve, absolutely, positively, completely, utterly unheard of. Almost like walking into another phase of existence, or like walking into a twilight zone. As a reminder, I'm filming this now in the final 25 minutes of 2020. Not because there's anything to really celebrate, but because this is a moment and a sight and a scene, a New Year's Eve this way in this city, like so many other cities and towns, that very likely will never, ever, ever come again. So you can see those little pockets of celebration here and there. Across the street, we're hearing, looks like a group of about 4 people coming up the street, celebrating New Year in whatever ways possible. But as you can see, as I make my way down South Elm, place after place after place is completely closed. Triad Stage crafted crafted taco. I've never eaten there before. Of course, we passed by Cone Denim earlier on, which I believe is for several years been a live music show club, but it's been closed for, as far as I can tell, the entire year. It's not all bars and clubs down here. South Elm Street, Greensboro, is a mix of stores and restaurants, bar and club type places. Got Curly Gibson Theater right there. Got people that live in some of the downtown apartment loft type settings that are out. It's actually a pretty nice evening too. As New Year's goes, this would have been a pretty nice night to be out and about. Not too cold. Rained earlier, but pretty much rain free now, and probably about 53 or 54 degrees. We're now at the corner of Washington and South Elm. There's a Lee Wrangler store there across the street. When I moved here in October of 2019, I was kind of surprised, but not too surprised to see that the Lime scooters made their way here. I'd seen them all over LA during the 40 months I lived out there, from June of 2016 until October 2019. Kind of waiting at the corner here for the green light there to turn red and for this walk sign to give me permission, lest I get run over in all this heavy traffic. Yes, that was an attempt at a joke. All right, we've got the walk sign, so we're proceeding. I gave a lot of thought to how I might want to spend this evening. I know a lot of people in cities and towns all over the nation and all over the globe are basically just staying home with the people they live with, their spouses, their families, just themselves, online, and ringing in the new year virtually. And that's fine. I mean, that's great. It's a good alternative. My living situation is that I live and have lived alone for a long time. I'm socially distant by default anyway, and I just couldn't see the sense in sitting in a tiny studio apartment completely by myself. I don't even have Lila with me anymore, sadly, and trying to ring in the new year that way. All told, I think this, as solitary as this is the better option. But make no mistake, this, what we're seeing right now in this moment, is really, really, really strange. Imagine Like I said, it's like something out of a Twilight Zone. South Elm Street, this very spot, on any, even on a fall or winter weekend night, or even some weeknights, relatively busy. My guess is that the governor ordered all bars and restaurants and clubs to close down, specifically tonight, because they were worried that if they had them open, too many crowds and the risk of viral transmission. That's my guess. Makes sense. So here we are with literally 30 minutes left to go in 2020. And this is how it's ending. Literally a ghost town, facing north, facing south. I'm just not sure what to make of this on an emotional level. On an intellectual level, it's pretty easy to understand. But on an emotional level, it's just strange. You know, and I'm not one who's ever shied away from strange. I kind of like strange and unique, different, novel. That's always been a good match for my personality. But this is strange even for me, and that's saying a lot. Over here across the street, as I safely cross because there's no traffic, is the Rue Bar. I've been here before. As far as I can tell, this has not been open all year. I'm not sure if this was open when I arrived late last year before the coronavirus crisis hit or not. I did go there a couple of times on a few visits that I made to this town when I was living in Kentucky from 2010 to 2016. I think I was here in 2012 and 2013 as well. I came back for Neomora's burial. And I think I did, maybe in 2012, stop by Rue Bar. But of course that's closed. And as we continue the walk down South Elm, we can see it's breathtaking to behold this. It's almost like walking in some sort of a strange dream. Now, earlier I was looking at some of the live video on social media, on YouTube, etc., seeing Times Square completely empty. And yes, that's pretty weird too. You know, I'd say we'd all agree about that. But to be here in person, and you know, Greensboro is not a major city. Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point is considered a medium to large town, metropolitan. Yes, sir. Hi.
I don't want no money, okay, bro?
No, it's okay. I'm just kind of filming the moment here. What can we do for you?
If I mean I have an ID, I can't get into the shelter, right?
Okay.
All I'm asking, so people know where their money really went, it's like, if I give you a picture just in exchange for like hygiene at the Family Dollar. And I promise, man.
You know, I would. I did, but I didn't bring my wallet with me at all. I literally just brought this because I wanted to record this strange moment we're in here. Okay. This is beautiful artwork, though. Did you do this yourself? Yes, this is truly amazing. I'm not live streaming right now. I'm recording. I felt the need to record this moment because the moment we're seeing around us is never going to come again. This is like being in a Twilight Zone episode, but this whole year has been. What do we have here?
A man in God's hands.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did not bring a wallet or anything with me. I'm literally just with this device and a key, and that's about it. But this is really stunning, and I'm going to be putting this on YouTube, so get a little, get a shot there for you anyway. What's your name, sir?
Tony.
Oh, hey, it's good to meet you.
You too.
What is this right here?
It's just an abstract piece.
It's really beautiful. You did all this yourself?
Yes, sir.
It's very, very nice. It's very nice.
Do
you want to, I am going to post this on, I guess, social media or something later. You want to shout out or say hi to somebody in case, no? Okay. It's okay. I understand. I'm sorry to hear that. I kind of didn't expect, much more except to kind of just do the ghost walk up and down the street here. But I wish you the best. Best in 2021. Thank you. All right. Yeah. 2020, it's been like that. Gray's Tavern, it's closed. Natty Greens. I've actually been to Natty Greens on a few occasions during the first time that I lived here, the first 12 years that I was here in the Triad. And we're literally looking at a bar at the corner of McGee and South Elm that on almost any night other than maybe a Monday night would at least have some people in it, you know, kind of busy. Weekends, normally, certainly kind of busy. But New Year's Eve, 2020, completely closed and locked up. Not a soul in sight. Their patio, not a soul in sight. I feel bad. I truly wish I could have helped the gentleman. His artwork is really nice, but I just didn't think to bring any money with me. Just traveling, came here on my electric bike and just, you know, traveling light with a key and this device. That's about it. Looks like some people trying to find a way to get the party going there. We're crossing McGee and South Elm and making our way. Getting close to the train tracks. We're going to start making our way back up here shortly because we're kind of coming to the end of the what would normally be the busy section anyway. Heavenly buffaloes. Not exactly the type of thing for me, being vegan going on 9 years, although if they are going to offer some vegan options, that might be a good idea for them. I hope they consider it. You know, I hope a lot of different places consider the philosophy, the life philosophy of veganism, the platform of dealing with non-human beings in a non-violent way. That would be so beneficial for everybody, all of us, human and non-human. As you can see, the consequences of a world of violence towards humans and non-humans is pretty profound. We're seeing it tonight. Looks like a firework going off. It's Hibachi Cafe. Closed, of course. We're proceeding our way back up North Elm. I'm sorry, back north on South Elm is what I should say. As we kind of take our little downtown walk together here. No, it's kind of a longer video, but this one, this evening, this night, this moment is sad and strange and astonishing and breathtaking and unbelievable as it is. If nothing else, is worth immortalizing in this manner. You know, Little Brother Brewing. I actually rode my bike by here earlier and seemed like they had a light or two on, and I thought I saw one person in there. Maybe it was an employee or something like that. Maybe they were open briefly earlier, but they are completely closed up, completely locked up tonight. Wow. I'm just, I'm amazed. You know, next year by this time, I'm pretty confident that enough people will have taken this vaccine or one of these vaccines, and I'm not here to say yay or nay or promote one way or another. You know, it's got to be kind of a personal choice, but whatever they do to try to curb this public health catastrophe, I hope it goes through and starts to bear fruit in 2021. I know we're all hoping for that. You know, I hope moments like this that we're in right now, I hope this moment gives people a backdrop, a reason to really reflect and think about our choices, about how we live. I have to ask over and over again, can you believe this is New Year's Eve in downtown Greensboro? It's astonishing. This is the sort of thing that you might experience in a dream. We're now 20 minutes left in 2020. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do or say as the clock strikes midnight Eastern Standard Time and rings in 2021. I don't know if we'll hear a couple of stray fireworks or something, but I'm going to keep this presentation rolling until then. I couldn't do anything less. You know, this has just been some year. You know, I don't even think there's much I could say that hasn't already been said. And I'm sure that at this exact moment that's being recorded, there's plenty of commentary and shared thoughts in real time about what this year has meant to us individually as a culture. Yeah, it's another downtown restaurant. It's closed up. Could well imagine that on any, I guess we'll say on any normal New Year's Eve, that most of these places, if not all, would be open, very busy, you know. Of course, New Year's Eve, traditionally the night when so many restaurants and bars make so much money, you know. They charge huge cover charges. I did go on the internet looking around just out of curiosity to see what might be open. A couple of things did pop up, but I think they popped up mostly in the Charlotte area. And my guess is that the part of Charlotte that's in South Carolina, they may have some sort of activity, New Year's activity, nightlife or something like that. Obviously, each state with its different rules. But I can only assume that North Carolina, the governor, Cooper, issued an order saying that everything had to be shut down tonight. We read for truth, justice, love, joy. Yeah. A very, very familiar sign for the year 2020 that every one of us has seen by now. You know, as towns go, this is a pretty nice town. I've always liked it in its own way. It's not like a huge major city with extreme amount of offerings, but it's got quite enough. Sort of a sports center, sports welcome center for Tournament Town, Greensboro, known for that, known for ACC basketball. Another thing that was shut down this year, among other things. You know, if you're seeing this on YouTube or Facebook, any other social media, by all means, you should comment about your thoughts, your feelings, your impressions about this. It got a little busy. We have two cars here at the corner. Two cars right here at the corner of Washington and South Elm. We're making our way north on South Elm now. You know, even with all the difficulties and distress and sadness of this year, the city does find a way to decorate pretty nicely over the holidays. The white lights on the trees are a really cool touch. Gives it a very festive feel, even though this is not a festive night. New Year's Eve 2020 honestly feels more like a funeral, like a wake, considering all the losses of lives that we've had. Now, that may be just the most appropriate thing. A little free advertising for everybody along the way too. Here now it's 11:45. We have 15 minutes left in this very, very strange, odd, but certainly historic year of 2020. It is just unbelievable what we're seeing. You know? I would be very, very surprised if this is how this spot looks exactly 1 year from tonight. Elm Street Center. There have been a variety of different clubs and bars and venues, live music venues in this spot. There were shops, major shopping center there long, long ago. This is a historic spot. Huh. Chico's Mexican restaurant. Not open. And we're coming up here on one of my favorite historical spots in Greensboro. For those of you that are aware of civil rights history and Greensboro civil rights history in particular, this is the corner of February 1 and South Elm. This street named February 1 because this was the spot that in 1960 saw 3 very brave students from North Carolina A&T take seats right here at this very location. This location now the International Civil Rights Center and Museum, but at one time it was Woolworth's. They took a spot at the Woolworth's lunch counter and remained seated until they would be served. That was in 1960, February 1. After Rosa Parks made her stand by sitting. These gentlemen did the same thing and really moved the civil rights campaign forward. I've actually visited this museum before. It's remarkable. If you are ever in Greensboro, I can't recommend this highly enough. Sadly, this is yet another spot that spent a lot of time closed this year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. There they are. These were the 4 students right here. Franklin McCain, Joseph McNeil, Iselle Blair Jr., and David Richmond. Yeah. Sometimes taking a stand, motorcycle there. Yeah, sometimes taking a stand for what is undeniably right means taking a seat. Very, very well said. On the positive side, I can't imagine any other occasion where we could have gone and toured downtown Greensboro, South Elm Street together like this. But here it is. This is kind of the center of it all. A little further up the way, there was a club called, what's the name of the club? Taqueria, I think it was called. That's where I was last year. Over here, we're looking at the entrance to what used to be called Much. That's right, M-U-C-H, Much. The bar and club called Much on the lower level, and upstairs club called Heaven. Now it's something else. Sin and Sky, S-Y-N and Sky, that was the name of it for a few years after that. And now it is the Limelight rooftop and event space. This spot here, New Year's Eve, on any other year, I literally would not be able to stand here right now. And I'm not kidding. I literally would be, well, probably not able to get in because of the cost, but I would not be able to stand right here because of ropes and bouncers and things like that. But tonight, it's a very, very different story. Because tonight is New Year's Eve of 2020. A moment of silence. It's 11:50. We have 10 minutes left in the year 2020, at least here on the East Coast. There's my ride right there. Came from LA. We're gonna make our way up to what used to be City Center Park. I think it's another name now. Yeah. Face masks required everywhere. I'm sure this is not an uncommon sight for anyone at all. I can only imagine right now how the centers of other major cities look. Well, this is not a major city, as I mentioned. It's sort of a medium size. But Times Square, saw earlier, closed to the public. I guess they're dropping the ball and doing it with only everybody watching through screens instead of live. I can't imagine Times Square or 2nd Street in Nashville right there next to the river, or Hollywood Boulevard being this quiet even on New Year's Eve 2020, but maybe it is. Maybe they are, I should say. I mean, I did expect that this would be quieter and more laid back and more chill than usual, but this is really, really strange. This is actually New Year's Eve right now. It's so quiet you literally could hear a pin drop. Yeah, it's the Jefferson Pilot building right there. Pardon me, a little sneeze there, but I was glad to find out on Monday night after giving a blood donation that I am and have been COVID negative. Part of the benefit of doing a blood donation, at least with the One Blood organization, is they check and see if there are any antibodies, and I was negative. So looks like I've done an okay job of staying safe and infection free in the environment that we all find ourselves in. Pokeball. 11:52. It's 8 minutes left in the year 2020, and then a new year will be born in silence. This is Friendly Avenue and Elm. You know, if someone tried to describe this to me, a New Year's Eve looking like this, and I didn't see it for myself, I would never believe them. Not in a million years. No, not at all. A group of 5 there, doing the celebrating. It's starting to drizzle a little bit too, but it's not too bad. City Post. They put these things up here to advertise. Now, Greensboro, very modern in a lot of ways. A lot of ways. Yeah. The Great Lawn, the Oval Lawn. This park is actually supposed to be closed at 11 o'clock. No one's supposed to be here, but I don't know if there's any kind of real enforcement going on. Or maybe they're just relaxing that because it is New Year's Eve and maybe they feel bad for people that don't have really anywhere else to go except to walk around downtown, just like you and I are doing at this moment. You can see in the background they have a holiday tree. It's pretty big, looks pretty nice. I'd say that this park, which is actually a private park, this is probably the busiest spot in all of downtown that I've seen so far in about the last 35 minutes as we make our way into the last 5 minutes of 2020. Maybe this would be a good spot to be socially distanced still, but at least a few people around to welcome what we hope is going to be a much better year, 2021. A couple of Lime scooters lit up and parked. Yeah, this is definitely, as spots go downtown, this is the busiest. You can see there's a few people here. This park's only been here maybe about 10 years or a little bit less. Developed with private funding, but they did a really nice job. And you can see up there the Jefferson Pilot building. You might not be able to see, it says 11:55 p.m. Eastern time. That clock actually up there is a little on the slow side. My cell phone showing 11:56. And we are down to the last 4 minutes of 2020. And then a new year is underway. And we'll be done with this one in this very, very strange moment. What we're seeing here actually looks a little more like New Year's Eve. I don't want to intrude on people. People may think that I'm live streaming right now, but again, this is not a live stream. As you'll see, this is for viewing after the fact, because I don't have minutes on this smartphone. I'm cheap like that. Maybe my New Year's resolution for 2021 can be, don't be so cheap. Nah, I think I'll continue with the cheap. Or maybe not. Okay, so I guess we can say it's official. This is the most festive spot there is in downtown Greensboro on this New Year's Eve. Total count, if I were to give an estimate, I would say maybe 30, 35 people here. Yeah, probably about 35 people. The busiest spot in downtown Greensboro. Surreal is, I guess, probably the best word that I could use to describe this. I don't know what else to say. It's, it's been one of those years that is going to be historical, and we'll remember it for many, many decades, I'm sure. But as we enter the last 2 minutes of 2020, I'm quite confident that most of us would agree that we'll be glad to be done with this one. The downtown Greenway. Another feature I really like, it's actually a walking and biking greenway around downtown Greensboro. They have to try to finish it next year because I really want to ride the entire thing. It's about 65% finished. A few more people gathering here. I think other people are able to watch the time just as I have, waiting for midnight to arrive, waiting for 2021 to arrive, and with it, a lot of hopes. A lot of hopes and a lot of differences, and maybe some return to normalcy, whatever that means. It's 11:59 p.m. We are down to the final minutes. I don't have a second-hand counter on the device I'm looking at, so I guess I don't really have a way to do the 30-second or 20-second or 10-second countdown to 2021. Maybe other people will have a way to do that. I'll remain socially distant, but kind of get over here and see what happens at the stroke of midnight. Maybe I should just let everybody know exactly when midnight happens. Or maybe the fireworks will go off. I think we're getting close. Yeah, we're definitely getting close. 2020 is about to slip away into history in just minutes. We're hearing fireworks in the background. It is midnight. It's midnight. It's 2021. Happy New Year, folks.
Hey!
2021!
And 2021 is born with a lot of hopes. And we found the only real place to be in downtown Greensboro, it looks like. So, with that moment, I think it's appropriate to wish you watching right now a very, very happy new year, a happy 2021, lots of life, love, dreams come true, goals met, more kindness, more compassion, more empathy, more evolved humanity, a new way, a new year, and lots of hopes, tempered by reality. Yes, we are still human, but lots and lots of hopes nonetheless. I am glad that I could take you on this tour through downtown Greensboro and welcome in the new year here in the Central Park area of Greensboro, North Carolina, welcoming 2021. It's really the best that any of us could have hoped for, not in front of a computer. It is now 12:01 a.m. and 2021 is now 1 minute old. And I want to wish everybody the most and the best in the new year. Thank you for joining me on this journey.